All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Naresh Mago and with me is Sarabjit Kaur. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address a digital conclave on World Youth Skills Day this morning. 15th India-European Union Summit to be held in virtual mode today. India has an important role to play in post-COVID world, says EU Ambassador. Coronavirus recovery rate reaches 63.02% in the country. CBSE to declare results of Class 10 examination this afternoon. US drops plans to deport international students whose courses move fully online because of pandemic. US President Donald Trump signs bill to impose sanctions on Chinese officials implementing oppressive law against Hong Kong. And UK bans its companies from sourcing 5G equipment from Chinese telecom company Huawei. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver a video address on the occasion of World Youth Skills Day today. The day marks the 5th anniversary of the launch of Skill India mission. A digital conclave is being organized by the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship to mark the occasion. Our correspondent reports that Skill India is an initiative of the Government of India to empower the youth with skill sets, making them more employable. Skill India offers courses across several sectors which are aligned to the standards recognized by both the industry and the government under the National Skill Qualification Framework. The courses enhance the technical expertise and companies don't have to invest in training for the particular job profile. Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar held a review meeting on the progress of Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan through video conferencing yesterday with the rural development ministers and officials of 6 states. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the Abhiyan on the 20th of last month. It is being undertaken in 116 districts of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha and Rajasthan. The Abhiyan will continue for 125 days. 25 works coming under 11 different ministries have been identified for completion. The Abhiyan was found to be progressing well under various parameters which are being regularly monitored. Speaking to the state representatives, the Union Minister of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj said, "It is the effort of the government to provide employment to the migrant workers at their native places. The Abhiyan is not only providing employment to returning migrants and similarly affected rural citizens, but also strengthening the economy." He expressed satisfaction at the rate of progress of the special drive by active cooperation between the centre and the states. He laid emphasis on further accelerating the drive and creation of maximum infrastructure.
Niti Aayog's flagship Atal Innovation Mission AIM has teamed up with other ministries and partners to support startups with COVID-19 innovative solutions and to further fight the pandemic. In this regard, AIM coordinated and concluded a series of virtual COVID-19 demo days yesterday. The initiative was launched in partnership with other government bodies, including Department of Biotechnology and Department of Science and Technology. In a statement, Niti Aayog said over 1,000 COVID-19 related startups from a diverse set of categories, including curative, preventive and assistive solutions, were put through 2 rounds of evaluation. From them, more than 70 startups were shortlisted for the virtual COVID-19 demo days. These startups will receive support in the form of funding, access to manufacturing abilities, supply chain and logistics, and finding the right vendors and mentors. The 15th meeting of the India-European Union Summit will be held in virtual mode today. The summit will be co-chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President of European Council Charles Michel, and President of European Commission Ursula von der Leyen. The summit will review India-EU cooperation covering political and security relations, trade and investment and economic cooperation. It is also expected to discuss developments around the COVID-19 pandemic and contemporary global matters of interest to both sides. A detailed report on this.
The summit is taking place in the background of EU wanting to play a more active role globally and also attaching higher priority to relationship with India and trying to look at the partnership in a more substantive way. The new presidents of the European Commission and European Council had taken over in December last year. The new leadership believes that EU needs to play a stronger role in the global platform and has shown a lot of interest in India. It was in the year 2000 in which India and the European Union decided to institutionalize the mechanism at the level of the summit. This year marks 20 years of the summit process between India and EU. The last summit between the two sides took place in 2017. With Anand Chaturvedi, Suparna Sekhya, AIR News, Delhi.
Ahead of the India-EU summit, the European Union representative in India, Ambassador Ugo Astuto, in an exclusive interview to AIR News said that India has an important role to play in the post-COVID world. Speaking about the 15th Indo-EU summit, the EU ambassador emphasized that economic cooperation, climate change, multilateralism and post-COVID response are going to be the focus of today's discussions. He said that both India and EU share strong bilateral relations and the summit holds high significance as both the partners will pledge to fight the menace of COVID-19 together.
India and the European Union share the same values of democracy and pluralism. And we strongly believe in multilateralism in a rules-based system of international governance. And I'm stressing this because this is particularly relevant now as we face a global crisis which requires a collective and cohesive response by the international community grounded in solidarity. EU-India summits have been establishing over the years a number of cooperative ventures on issues such as renewable energy, water management, sustainable cities, resource efficiency. And these are all topics of particular relevance now in the wake of COVID. So in short, I trust that the summit tomorrow will inject even further momentum this collaboration.
Mr. Astuto said both the partners share the same values of democracy and have converging interests that have become more relevant in the current scenario. The ambassador asserted that the summit will focus on a new cooperation agenda to create the future roadmap for a strong bilateral strategic partnership in the years ahead. Mr. Astuto said both India and European Union will discuss multiple issues in the virtual bilateral summit ranging from climate change to security and global peace. He expressed confidence in development of stronger Indo-EU partnership on multiple fronts.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will virtually address the valedictory high-level segment of United Nations Economic and Social Council ECOSOC on Friday. This will be Prime Minister Modi's first speech at the United Nations after India reinstated its place as a non-permanent member in the Security Council earlier this year. ECOSOC serves as the central forum for discussing international economic and social issues and formulating policy recommendations addressed to member states of the United Nations. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the Council since its formation in 1945. The US government has dropped its plans to deport international students whose courses have moved fully online because of the coronavirus pandemic. This decision comes a little over a week after US President Donald Trump's administration had announced the policy. Harvard University and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology sued the government over the plan. District Judge Alison Burroughs in Massachusetts said the parties have come to a settlement. Foreign students were told last week that they would not be allowed to stay in the U.S. this autumn unless they switched to a course with in-person tuition. U.S. President Donald Trump signed a bill to impose sanctions on Chinese officials implementing the oppressive law against Hong Kong. The U.S. President told a press conference that this law gives his administration powerful new tools to hold responsible the individuals and entities involved in extinguishing Hong Kong's freedom. Mr. Trump has also signed an order to end preferential treatment for Hong Kong as his administration adopts an increasingly tough stance on China. He said Hong Kong will now be treated the same as mainland China. Mr. Trump said it will end the preferential trade treatment Hong Kong has received for years. Mr. Trump and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo have blamed China for the spread of the coronavirus pandemic and criticized Beijing for its Hong Kong crackdown. China had recently imposed a new security law to bring an end to Hong Kong's special status agreed under a 1984 pact between China and the UK. The former British colony was returned to Chinese rule in 1997 with a law protecting freedom of speech, assembly and the press until 2047. The UK has banned its companies from sourcing 5G equipment from Chinese telecom company Huawei. The move comes despite Beijing's threat to retaliate to any such action by Britain. UK's Digital Secretary Oliver Dowden made the announcement after a meeting chaired by UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson of his cabinet and the National Security Council. Mr. Dowden told British Parliament that from the end of this year, telecom providers must not buy any 5G equipment from Huawei. The new guidelines require the British telecom operators to remove all 5G-related equipment supplied by the Chinese company from their infrastructure by 2027.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address a digital conclave on World Youth Skills Day this morning. 15th India-European Union Summit to be held in virtual mode today. India has an important role to play in post-COVID world, says EU Ambassador. Coronavirus recovery rate reaches 63.02% in the country. CBSE to declare result of Class 10th examination this afternoon. US drops plans to deport international students whose courses move fully online because of pandemic. US President Donald Trump signs bill to impose sanctions on Chinese officials implementing oppressive law against Hong Kong. And UK bans its companies from sourcing 5G equipment from Chinese telecom company Huawei. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
The Health and Family Welfare Ministry has said that the difference between the active cases and the recovered cases is increasing progressively and the total recoveries have reached 1.8 times that of the active cases in the country. It said a total of 5,71,460 people affected with coronavirus have recovered in the country so far. With this, the recovery rate in the country has reached 63.02%. Presently, the total number of active corona cases in the country is 3,11,565. The Health Ministry has informed that India has 657 cases per million in comparison to the global average of 1,638 cases per million, and the country has registered 17.2 deaths per million compared to the global average of 73 deaths per million due to the coronavirus. It said the daily growth rate in new cases is showing a declining trend and it is now 3.24%, which was around 31% in March this year. The ministry said the case fatality rate has also declined to 2.61%. It said 30 states and union territories have recorded lower fatality rates than the national average. Here is more from our correspondent.
There are 20 states and union territories that have better recovery rates than the national average of 63.02%. In terms of recovery rate, top 5 states and union territories are Ladakh, Delhi, Uttarakhand, Chhattisgarh and Haryana, wherein the recovery rate is above 75%. 10 states and union territories have contributed 86% in the total COVID-19 cases and 50% of it alone came from Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Government has said that adequate testing is being done in the country to effectively deal with this crisis. There are 22 states in the country which are conducting 140 tests per day per million population. Overall, 201 tests per day per million population is being conducted in India. Lab network has been ramped up to increase the testing and more than 1400 labs are conducting the COVID-19 test in the country. Bhupendra Singh, AIR News, Delhi.
Indian Council of Medical Research ICMR has said that India has fast-tracked its efforts for the development of COVID-19 vaccines which are already under the human trial stage. It said India is considered as the pharmacy of the world and 60% of the vaccine at the world's level is supplied by the country. ICMR Director General Balram Bhargav emphasized that not delaying the process of vaccine development is a moral duty which will be accomplished without compromising the ethical part.
In Chhattisgarh, Sample collection centers will be established in various urban and rural areas to identify corona-positive patients. State Health Department has directed the Chief Medical and Health Officers of all the districts to start a sufficient number of sample collection centers as soon as possible. These centers will be established in places where people can reach conveniently. In these centers, maximum possible samples of persons suffering from cough, cold and fever will be collected. Meanwhile, West Bengal government has decided to extend lockdown in the containment zones till Sunday in the wake of rising COVID-19 cases. This will come into effect from today. Earlier, state government had announced strict lockdown in containment zones for a week, which began on Thursday. In an order issued by State Home Secretary Allapan Bandyopadhyay, the lockdown will be operational in and around Kolkata and in the towns of Malda, Jalpaiguri, Raiganj, Siliguri and Cooch Behar.
In Himachal Pradesh, trading and economic activities have started gradually after the commencement of Unlock 2.0. Our correspondent reports that industrial labourers in the state have also started returning from other states.
Industrial workers from other states have started returning to the state to effectively deal with the infectious epidemics. Workers from outside the state are allowed to work only after being tested negative for COVID-19. However, in the wake of rising fresh COVID-19 cases, the state government has decided to place industrial laborers in institutional quarantine or home quarantine. Contractors and industrial institutions will be fully responsible for this. Meanwhile, no e-passes are being issued currently to the people entering the state. Additional Chief Secretary Health R.D. Dhiman said that every entrant would now have to verify the required information from the authorities, and only after certifying information they would be registered to enter the state. He said strict legal action would be taken against those who conceal desired information. Sanjeev Sundariyal, AIR News, Shimla.
In Tamil Nadu, Madurai has returned to Unlock Phase 2 as the complete lockdown in the city ended at midnight last night. Meanwhile, the total COVID-19 cases in Tamil Nadu have exceeded 1,47,000 after 4,526 people tested positive yesterday. Here is more from our correspondent.
Kalvi, meaning education, is a television channel promoted by the Tamil Nadu State Education Department to support teaching and learning activities. Now it has evolved as an important tool for the 10th standard students' education in the absence of physical classrooms. In another development, the department has prepared video lessons for the 12th class students. It may be noted that the 11th and 12th students in government schools are being given free laptops in the state for long. Using the laptops, the students are allowed to download the video lessons from their school computers from yesterday. It is regarded as an interim measure for the students to pursue their education as the schools remain shut down due to the prevailing pandemic. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
Gujarat has recorded 915 new cases during the past 24 hours. Total cases in the state detected so far has gone up to 43,723. Our correspondent reports that 14 patients have lost their lives yesterday, taking the total death toll to 2,071.
Out of 915 new cases, maximum 221 cases have been reported from Surat city. Ahmedabad city recorded 154 new cases. Out of 11,097 active cases in the state, the conditions of 71 patients are serious. 749 patients have been discharged after recovery during the last 24 hours. With this, the total patients recovered from the COVID-19 have gone up to 30,555. More than 4,78,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date. Meanwhile, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has added 20 new areas in micro-containment zone while removing 5 areas from the list. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has asserted that constant efforts are necessary to create awareness among the people about COVID-19. The awareness campaign should underline the necessity of use of masks and maintaining social distancing. Meanwhile, state capital Lucknow is witnessing a surge in COVID cases. More details from our correspondent.
With 152 new COVID positive patients, Lucknow is now leading the tally with a total of 1,591 patients in the state. More than 80 teams have been formed for implementation of social distancing norms. With 182 new cases, Ghaziabad now has 1,295 active cases, followed by Gautam Buddha Nagar, Noida with 851 active cases, in which 161 were added on Tuesday. A total of 24,981 patients have recovered so far, with Tuesday reporting 778 new recoveries. While UP ranks 6th in the number of cases in India, it ranks 3rd in the country in number of tests. Only Maharashtra, with almost 6.8 times the number of UP cases, and Tamil Nadu, with almost 3.7 times of cases, are ahead of UP in number of tests. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Madhya Pradesh, public tableaus will not be put up on festivals to prevent corona infections in the state. It has been suggested in the meeting of the Crisis Management Group. We have a report.
Reviewing the situation and arrangements to prevent the corona infection in the state, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan said that to prevent the spread of corona infection, upcoming festivals must be celebrated at home. Idols must be installed at home, and permission will not be granted to install idols in public places and to celebrate festivals. Not more than 5 persons will be allowed to gather at a places of worship at a time. Not more than 10 persons will be allowed to take part in birthday parties. Similarly, not more than 10 persons each from both the parties will be allowed to take part in marriages and engagement. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Jammu and Kashmir BJP Chief Ravinder Raina has tested positive for corona and admitted to Narayana Hospital in Katra. Raina had on Sunday visited Bandipora in Kashmir along with Union Minister Jitendra Singh, BJP National General Secretary Ram Madhav, BJP National Vice President Avinash Rai Khanna and others to pay their condolences to the family of the slain party leader Wasim Bari, who was killed along with his father and brother in a terror attack last week. All those who came in contact with him, including those accompanying him to Bandipora or at the Srinagar party office, will be tested for coronavirus. Following the news, Dr. Jitendra Singh announced going into self-quarantine with immediate effect.
State Bank of India, SBI, the country's largest lender, will institute work from anywhere infrastructure to facilitate its staff to work from any location. Speaking to shareholders at the bank's 65th annual general meeting, SBI Chairman Rajneesh Kumar said the measure is likely to save 1,000 crore rupees through cost optimization and will be a key component of the bank's business continuity during COVID-19. In our series Expert Speak on All India Radio, we bring you the views of the leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Nand Kumar, Professor of Psychiatry, AIIMS, advised people to stay home, spend time with family members and practice yoga.
We are going to overcome this crisis within a few weeks. Stay at home, spend time with the family, do household work, exercise, listen to music, sing with the family, do yoga, meditation and take care of emotional need of the family.
Dr. Sanjay Pandey of Govind Ballabh Pant Hospital, Delhi spoke about the use of mask, saying it is important to wear mask while stepping out of home.
ऐसे रिपोर्ट आए हैं कि कोरोना का इफेक्ट दिमाग पर पड़ता है और जो हमारा पेरिफेरल नर्वस सिस्टम है दोनों पर पड़ता है. तो कई बार बहुत ही स्मॉल परसेंटेज ऑफ पेशेंट जिसमें कोरोना एक सीवियर कैटेगरी का होता है उसमें दिमाग पर असर हो सकता है, जैसे इंकेफ्लाइटिस की तरह की प्रेजेंटेशन हो सकती है या कई बार पेरिफेरल नर्व सिस्टम का इन्वॉल्वमेंट हो सकता है. लेकिन इस तरह के मरीजों की संख्या बहुत ही कम है और ऐसा तभी होता है जब हम प्रारंभिक लक्षणों को नजरअंदाज करें और बीमारी का ट्रीटमेंट न करें. तो इसमें घबराने वाली कोई बात नहीं है. इसके बारे में सतर्क जरूर रहना चाहिए, जागरूक जरूर होना चाहिए और अगर इस तरह के कोई लक्षण होए तो अपने डॉक्टर के साथ शेयर करना चाहिए ताकि आपका जल्द से जल्द इलाज हो सके.
Central Board of Secondary Education CBSE will declare the result of Class 10 examination this afternoon. Students can access their results through the websites www.cbse.nic.in, www.cbseresults.nic.in and www.results.nic.in. Results will also be sent to the candidates through SMS on their registered mobile number and on registered email IDs. In addition, results can be obtained by sending an SMS on mobile number 7738 299 899 with the required details. Results of Class 10 can also be obtained through interactive voice response system on telephone number 011 24300699. Besides, students can also view their results on Umang app and on www.umang.gov.in. Students can also access DigiLocker application on Umang app to view their mark sheets and other digital academic documents. Candidates' digital mark sheet, passing, migration and skills certificates will also be available in DigiLocker.
The Maharashtra government has ordered an inquiry after mark sheets of agriculture universities in the state were found to have the words promoted COVID-19 stamped on them. State Agriculture Minister Dada Bhuse ordered inquiry after BJP leader Ashish Shelar raised the issue. In Assam, there is no respite from flood fury. Nearly 33 lakh people are affected in the second wave of floods in 28 districts. The death toll due to floods has gone up to 59 in the state. 45,000 people are taking shelter at relief camps. Nagaon, Morigaon, Dubri, Barpeta, Golpara are among the worst affected districts. Rescue and relief measures are being carried out by the local administration, SDRF and NDRF. Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal will several flood-affected areas in Upper Assam tomorrow. Several national park and sanctuaries are also under water, including the Kaziranga National Park. We spoke to the director of the Kaziranga National Park, P. Shivakumar.
This is one of the sixth highest flood in the history of Kaziranga. The highest flood was 1988, and last year also we had one of the highest flood, and this year also we are facing the highest flood. So the highest flood frequency is basically increasing yearly, and this year so far 51 animals died and around 102 animals is rescued. And today we rescued one rhino calf, and we are having around 121 tigers, and out of 121, 3 tigers died out. Yesterday one at eastern range and today 2 at western range, and out of 3, one is already moved towards the park area and another one is moved towards the Karbi Anglan area. One is still taking rest along the national way at Puturi area. So far situation is under control, and tomorrow our Honorable Chief Minister is visiting the park and to see the situation of flood in the park.
Now let us take a look at the weather updates for today. The national capital Delhi may witness a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The minimum temperature is recorded at 28 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 38 degrees. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. The city witnessed a minimum temperature of 25 degrees Celsius and will have a maximum of 31 degrees. In Chennai, the temperatures will hover between 28 and 35 degrees Celsius, and the city will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. In Gilgit, the minimum temperature was recorded at 19 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 32. It is expected to have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Muzaffarabad may see a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening, with temperatures of 21 and 35 as minimum and maximum respectively.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The front pages of most leading dailies have featured the political turmoil in Rajasthan. Congress crisis deepens after CLP sacks pilot from cabinet, PCC says The Hindu. India pushes for PLA pullback at Pangong Depsang in tough talks, reads the Times of India headline. Restricting screen time, centre limits duration of online school sessions, reads a front page story in The Hindu. The Tribune reports UK imposes ban on China's Huawei, all 5G kits to be removed by 2027. And finally, under the headline, Farmer's Son Gets 100% Scholarship to Cornell, the Times of India says Anurag Tiwari, son of a marginal UP farmer who scored 98.2% in CBSE Class 12 exams, has secured a berth in New York's Cornell University with 100% scholarship.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address a digital conclave on World Youth Skills Day this morning. 15th India-European Union Summit to be held in virtual mode today. India has an important role to play in post-COVID world, says EU Ambassador. Coronavirus recovery rate reaches 63.02% in the country. CBSE to declare results of Class 10 examination this afternoon. US drops plans to deport international students whose courses move fully online because of pandemic. US President Donald Trump signs bill to impose sanctions on Chinese officials implementing oppressive law against Hong Kong, and UK bans its companies from sourcing 5G equipment from Chinese telecom company Huawei. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.